Time, the FBI in the news for another reason today. We just heard from Mr. Weinstein. This is a live look at Cincinnati, courtesy of EarthCam, where an armed man in body armor tried breaching a security screening area at an FBI field office. An hours-long standoff with that suspect ended just moments ago. Ohio State Highway Patrol saying after the suspect was confronted by FBI agents, police chased him onto Interstate 71, where he then shot at troopers several times. Once the chase ended, law enforcement and the suspect exchanged gunfire. NewsNation's Kelly Meyer joins us live. So, Kelly, this standoff, again, just ending a short time ago.
That's right, Nicole. And FBI offices across the country on high alert today. Authorities say an armed man wearing body armor tried to break into an FBI field office in Cincinnati, Ohio, exchanging gunfire with law enforcement. That standoff, as you said, just ending. And it all started around 9 a.m. this morning. The suspect fleeing the area after attempting to break into the FBI office, leading to a police pursuit, with the suspect firing shots while fleeing. Police were able to contain the suspect in a mile radius where the standoff was ongoing for much of the day.
This morning, male subject attempted to gain entry into the FBI field office in Cincinnati. He was armed. He was unsuccessful and he fled that area. The FBI then contacted us, let us know what had occurred.
No officers were injured during the exchange of gunfire, and we know few details about who the suspect is and what his motive was. Police say the suspect was injured. We're hoping to hear from officials soon for the status of the situation. We'll keep you aware of the latest here, Nicole.
All right, Kelly Meyer live for us. Thank you. Now, again, police saying that standoff has ended just moments ago. Our NewsNation teams have been there the entire time, and Riley Phillips with our NewsNation affiliate WDTN in Cincinnati is on the ground with that perspective.
Yes, we also just learned that the Clinton County Emergency Management Agency posted on their Facebook saying law enforcement response has ended. We have not heard anything new from OSP yet, but earlier they did say that they had the suspect contained to an area. Now, that man, they believe, tried to breach the visitor screening facility at the FBI field office in Kenwood. He was reportedly armed. He was not able to get into the building. He ran from federal agents. He led them on a car chase that shut down Interstate 71 for hours, shut down State Route 73 for hours. We do know that shots were fired during that chase, and we also know that he got off the interstate and eventually stopped and also fired shots at law enforcement. We do not know the condition of the suspect. We're still waiting to learn that. We're also still waiting to learn who this man is. We're hoping to hear from Ohio State Highway Patrol soon. I'm in Clinton County, Riley Phillips.
All right, Riley, thank you for that. Well, joining us now to dig into this a bit more, former FBI agent Stuart Kaplan. Stuart, thank you so much for being with us.
Good evening.
Well, you know, very scary situation there. Walk us through what that conversation would have been like between law enforcement and the suspect. I mean, this standoff lasted for hours.
Well, thank God that the FBI has shored up in the last 10 years their field offices with respect to basically preventing anybody who does not have a legitimate purpose or access to come into those buildings without a key card, without properly identifying themselves. It used to be where you could just open up the door and gain access into the lobby. They have now realized to kind of create a secondary barrier. Thank God this could have ended up, terrible for anybody who would have been inside that lobby. And of course, once that incident would have escalated inside a lobby, who knows how it would have ended. So, my hat's off again to the men and women, and certainly to the FBI police. The FBI, like Secret Service, has a uniform law enforcement side to them. And thank God they were paying attention. They were very astute. And really tried to neutralize this threat as quickly as possible. It could have ended up really tragically.
Well, Stuart, I've been inside an FBI field office. Walk our viewers through what it's like to get inside now, because you said that they have recently shored up security there.
Yeah, so, listen, without, divulging too much information, hopefully your viewers will understand, it used to be where, the FBI office was basically like the post office. It was open to the general public. And of course, there were barriers in place where you would then be properly screened to announce what your business is. And then, of course, a phone call would be made to that individual you may have an appointment with. And then after clearing a magnetometer, an X-ray, you would then have an escort to bring you into wherever you needed to go. In the last 10 years, and I would say probably maybe a little bit longer, with some incidents in the escalation of domestic terrorism, the FBI finally made a decision, and rightfully so, that we are going to restrict all public access onto our property. Basically, you are going to have to announce yourself, identify yourself prior to gaining any entry. And so kind of analogous to where we can get onto the airport property, into the airport terminal. But once we get into that secured area, we're going to have to clear a magnetometer. That was consistent many years ago where how the FBI was generally set up. We've now decided at the curb, now curbside, analogous to an airport, once you get to the curbside, that's where security screening is going to start and begin right there.
Well, you know, Stuart, you mentioned the domestic terrorism increased threat of that. We just heard from a former federal prosecutor. He alluded to this new warning from officials. They're saying that there's this increased threat against federal agents. You know, there was also this recent raid on the former president's home. Do you see, is there a direct correlation there?
Yeah, no doubt about it. Look, I have reported it, and I'm saddened by what has played out this week. Look, back in May of 2017, when then director James Comey was fired, it left a trail of irreparable harm to the men and women of the FBI, where their integrity, the trustworthiness of the FBI was being called into question. We realized that it was going to take years, if not decades, to repair that. And now you have a situation on Tuesday where all of a sudden this search warrant comes out of nowhere. And I think it's kind of like, you know, taking a hand grenade, pulling the pin and throwing it into an occupied room, understanding that there's going to be collateral damage. Look, the United States has never been more divided than we are now. And then you light this fuse or pull this pin out of this hand grenade, it only exacerbates what we're already suffering from. We're all suffering from, you know, the United States being anything but united.
Right.
And I'm a little, you know, saddened. And I think that, you know, while I appreciate the Attorney General coming forward today, I do believe it's a little too late with respect to his remarks. It should have been something that should have been done at the onset, if not before the execution of the search warrant.
Yeah, and we certainly, of course, want to keep all of our law enforcement safe. Stuart Kaplan, thank you so much for your time, former FBI agent.
Always my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.